So, welcome to Transition to Recovery. So, please come to a comfortable seated position. And I had a question about posture, and I was explaining that something I still had to work with myself. The principle of yoga, or one of the principles of yoga, is prana, energy, universal life force energy. And the major way this comes into our system is with the breath. But we cannot hold that prana, that energy properly, unless we begin to realign our posture. And when we've been ill or depressed or anxious, one of the first things that goes is our posture. It's very unconscious, but we just start to slightly let the shoulders go. It's like we're trying to protect our heart. And this also changes the structure of the muscles in the back. So what happens is actually the chest becomes quite tense, so do the shoulders. And then when we try to readjust, it can initially seem painful because we're actually trying to re-educate our muscles. So we're going to work on posture gently. So from sitting, just take a moment or two to observe how you are. And then we're just going to roll the shoulders a few times. We won't move with the breath yet. We're just kind of releasing around this upper body. And then just relax your shoulders down so you've got a sensation of space between the ear and the shoulder. And then because when we breathe, which we'll come on to in a minute, we also work with the throat chakra, which is also this whole neck area and chest area. We're just going to do a few gentle movements to release the neck, because when we do that, that helps the posture, it helps the breath too. So just start by taking one ear to one shoulder and center, and then the other ear to the other shoulder, and then center. Do that a couple of times on each side. And if you like, you can just increase that movement by just gently wrapping the hand around the side of the head and just very gently encouraging it a little bit further, but don't strain. And you might notice that it feels different on one side from the other. And then to release the neck and the throat a little bit more, we're going to look around one shoulder. Just observe how far you can look comfortably. And then come back to center. And then look around the same shoulder again. And this time you might notice that your gaze goes a little further because you've already stretching and opening out your neck. Come back to center. And then again, once more. And you might notice you can go a little further, even more forward. Keep the body facing forward. It's just the neck. And then try that 3 times in your own breathing rhythm to the other side. And each time you move the neck, you're just releasing and freeing up the neck a little more. And then imagine that you're wearing one of those squashy supports, that collar that you sometimes wear if you're flying. So just imagine you've got this around your neck, because you're just very gently going to circle your chin around. You're not taking your head too far forward or too far back. It's almost like you're painting a circle on the wall in front of you with your chin, just slowly. And then move it in the other direction. And then observe how your jaw is, because so many of us hold tension around our jaw without being aware of it. So it's something I do actually as well. So just relax the jaw slightly. It might help to take the index fingers to the jawbone and massage it. And this is all helping this throat chakra. And then we're just very gently going to move the lower jaw from side to side. It's not an attractive look, but it's very good for loosening up the jaw. And then relax. And just notice if the body feels a little bit softer. If it doesn't, that's fine too. And then very gently draw the shoulder blades together and relax just a couple of times. And then furthermore, to help the posture, in fact, this is one of the best things you can do. Interlock the fingers behind the back. Turn the palms down, so the palms are pressing down towards the floor. And then just lift up through the heart. So this is a really good movement to help the posture and to open out the chest. And if you like, you can just gently draw the hands up behind you and then relax them down. We'll do this also from standing, but now we're just doing it from sitting. Lift up and down. And then just give everything a shake. Just shake everything out. And from this, come back to a comfortable sitting position. And again, just think about your posture, but think about it kindly. We're not putting any judgment or stress there. I always say, imagine you've got a beautiful jewel on your sternum, on your chest, and you're just showing it. So we're not kind of hunching over slightly. We're just lifting the heart without strain. Keep the jaw soft, relax the eyes, close the eyes now, if that's okay for you. And just imagine spaciousness between the crown of the head and the tailbone. So the ribs are just slightly lifting, but not with strain. It's just this idea of space. And then finally, we're going to nod the head back and then tuck the chin into the chest, almost like we're making a double chin. So we're lengthening the back of the neck. Because often with the posture, the neck then goes up, particularly if we're using screens. We just want to remind the back of the neck to be long. With the eyes closed, become aware of the breath. No judgment, don't try to alter anything at the moment. You're just watching with curiosity. And then just to remind us of healthy breathing, helping to bring prana, or helping prana to flow in the body. One hand to the heart, the other just below the belly button. And we're going to breathe slow and low into the hand that's on the belly, but we're not making it too deep. It's a subtle breath. The movement is so that the belly slightly lifts on the in-breath and then lowers on the exhalation, and the hand on the chest is relatively still. And if you can, access breathing through the nose. And then just for a few breaths, focus only on the exhalation, making the exhalation long and smooth. And then drop your hands to your knees, and with the eyes still closed, just observe how you're feeling. I'm actually thinking at the end of the practice, or towards the end, I'm going to introduce the alternate nostril breath. It's not something I usually teach people who have ME or long COVID, because they are struggling usually with their breathing and hyperventilation. But I think for this group, transition to recovery would be quite a nice breathing pranayama to start, but we'll look at that a bit later. So just take a moment or two, focusing on the mind, just beginning to quieten. And if it doesn't quieten, that's all right. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up to standing. So remember, rest when you need to. You don't have to wait for me to tell you to rest out. Please work kindly. The principle of yoga, one of the principles is ahimsa, that's non-violence, and it starts with us. So I'm just going to adjust my camera. Okay. So again, from standing, we have this opportunity to think about our posture. Now, the way I explain posture in yoga is to start with the feet together and then make a V by treading the toes out and then lifting the heels and bringing the heels down. So in this way, your feet are under your hips. Now, your feet are, of course, I'm stating the obvious, but they are important to your posture because they're the foundation. And if you begin to get painful joints or inflammation, often it can be traced back to our foot placement. So just spread your toes and then just sway forward, first of all, over the toes and then the heels. Until you get the center point. And then I'm going to ask you to roll in a little and then to the outside edges of the feet. So rolling the feet in and then out. And then finish with the feet centered, but just very, very slightly towards the edges of the feet, because as we get ill or as we age, we tend to roll our feet in and then our arches drop, which can be painful. So we're just reminding our feet to come very slightly, it's very subtle, towards the more to the outside, not rolling the knees, the feet in together. And then the other point that's very important with our posture is where our pelvis is placed, because this can cause great problems with our backs. So if you have had children or you've worn heels in the past, we tend to push our pelvis forward. And actually, even today, you'll see models will push their pelvis forward and, they kind of model like this. It's actually really bad for the back. So just to remind ourselves where our pelvis should be, one hand to the pelvis, the other on the lower back, tilt the pelvis until you come back to neutral, and you'll know where that is because the lower back won't feel so tense. And then have a sensation of lifting up through the lower ribs. It's not strain, we're not kind of stretching or putting strain there, but it's more like spaciousness. We're just introducing spaciousness by lifting the lower ribs, which of course go around the back too. And then again, as we did from sitting, just think about where your heart, your chest is placed. Now, again, it's quite helpful on Zoom actually, because you can look at your screen, but just observe where your hands are placed, because for many of us, and I notice this when I teach on retreats, we tend to curl the hands in. And I'm just exaggerating it now because that's that very slight movement forward with the shoulders, which protects the heart. So the really simple way is just to adjust the arms, lifting the shoulders slightly, drawing them back so the middle finger is in line with the middle of the leg. And if you've got trousers or leggings, you might find it's just on that seam there. And this just helps to open up the front of the body. And then again, just as we did when we were sitting, lift the chin, nod the head up and down a couple of times, and then lengthen the back of the neck, chin into chest. And then close your eyes and just feel somatically which means how, somatically soma is the body. How does the body feel when I have this posture? Now, it should feel unrestricted and free and spacious, but if you're not used to it, it might initially feel strange. But just develop an awareness of this is how you are, or how you should. I mean, I don't like to use the word should. There is no should in yoga, but this is kind of what we're aiming for. And also with your core muscles, just very gently draw the navel to the spine. Very gently, not tension, but it's just to bring a bit of tone into the abdominal muscles, which also tend to go when we've been ill. And this is kind of working on both requests earlier were about the throat chakra and posture. So everything, of course, is aligned. And then just for a moment, we're going to think about grounding. So feel the feet holding you as your support. And imagine you've got roots going down from your heels, down, down, down the earth, into the earth, and they are supporting you and nourishing you. And as you inhale, imagine you're breathing up energy through those roots, through the feet, up the legs, up into the head, gentle, nourishing energy on the in-breath, and exhaling down, down the spine, down the legs, out through the feet, down into your roots. So just for a few breaths, focus on the breathing, focus on grounding, and be in your body. Focus on how your body is feeling. And then releasing the breath, we're going to start to move. So we're just going to start by moving gently from side to side. So we're going to move, we're twisting from the torso and letting the arms follow. So the arms are not informing the movement, it's from the torso. So we're just twisting like this, and the arms are following the torso. And I always say, and I mean, I get this from my teachers, that the subtle movements in yoga are the most powerful. So we don't need to be doing strong warrior postures yet, although we might lead up to that. These are all just waking up the body, waking up the spine. And then come back to center with the torso, let the arms might still drift a little. Wait till they've finished. And then we're going to become aware of the right arm. We're going to inhale, following the fingers with our gaze as we cross the arm over the body, drawing the arm up, still following the fingers with our gaze, coming back down. So we're doing a lovely twisting, gentle movement. Again, we're moving the spine. And to start to involve the breath. So breathing in as you lift, breathing out as you lower. 3 or 4 times, and then come back to Samastiti and just close your eyes and observe if the left side feels different from the right. Again, just check your feet supporting you, position of your pelvis. You've not dropped your ribs, back of the neck is long. Observe the right side, observe the left side. And then we're going to take this to the other side, working or moving about the same length of time. So if you did 3 or 4, do the same on the other side. So inhaling to lift, follow the fingers with your gaze as the arm crosses the body. Exhaling as you lower, following the fingers. When you finish, coming back to Samastiti. And then again, just rolling the shoulders 2 or 3 times, really drawing the shoulder blades together as you roll. And then we are going to just begin again. So we're opening up the front of the body as we're moving gently. So we're going to breathe in, lifting the arms up. My arms are slightly off camera, but that's okay. And then out to the side, we're going to chant them down. Om. If you don't want to chant, you can just breathe. So inhale the arms up towards the front and then exhaling to the sides. Om. Once more, inhaling up. Om. And then again, pausing, close the eyes, come into the body, just check around how you're feeling, keeping the awareness in the body. And then when you're ready, breathing in, lifting up the arms again. I'll go back because you can't quite see me, but I'm going to hold one wrist with the other hand like this, and I'm lifting up. And then we're going to take a gentle bend to the left. Take 2 or 3 breaths here, and then lift up. Just open up and go upwards a little, and then if you like, you can change your hand position so the opposite hand is holding the other wrist, and a gentle bend to the right. Taking a couple of breaths here, coming back to center. And you can either rest down or you can repeat that once more to each side. So very gentle side bend. And then just to help the spine to neutralize, I'm going to do a really lovely position now. So I'll demonstrate side on. You're going to curl down, you keep the knees bent, and you let the head hang, and you're just going to sway from side to side. Let the head really hang. If you want to, you can straighten the knees, but it's quite nice to make it a softer posture. And then just stop the swaying and let the arms hang. Remember, if this posture isn't for you or forward bends are not for you, rest out. Only do what feels right. So keep listening to the body, keep moving with kindness. So now you're just hanging, and then you can start that momentum up again. Just swaying the arms from side to side, and then stopping, and maybe doing that 3 times. Hanging, swaying, stopping, just hanging, and then starting the momentum up again. When you finish, come back to Samastiti, your standing posture. Just check in with your posture, check those arm positions, back of the neck long, jaw released, all those points that we just want to check in, that we've not gone back into our old habits. We're creating a new pattern, a new habit of this open, free posture. Keep the jaw relaxed. You might like to close the eyes. And then we're going to do something a little bit more movement with the feet, because I'm always going on about feet because they're so important for our health and they so often get neglected. So just checking you can see me, moving my mat. Right, so just take a gentle stride forward with your right foot and bring your hips forward. Again, think about your posture, sternum lifted, shoulders relaxed, back of the neck long. And all we're going to do, this is a slight balance, so do bring your arms out if you want and find a spot to focus on. But all we're going to do is gently lift the left heel and then roll the left foot down and then gently lift the toes of the right foot so the balance is now on the right heel. And then roll down with the right sole, lift the left heel. Drop the left heel, lift the right toes, and just move forward like this, keeping your awareness on the sole of the foot or the soles of both feet, just feeling that movement and stimulation on the soles of the feet, really getting the feet working, looking at a spot to help you with your balance. And then when you've done that maybe 5 or 6 times, just take a bend to the right knee, bring the right foot back, come back to Samastiti, also known as standing Shavasana. So just give yourself the opportunity to recalibrate, restore, relax, come back to your breath. And then if you would like, we're going to take that to the other side. So taking a gentle stride forward with the left foot this time, keeping the hips aligned in front of you, thinking about lifting the sternum. And then when you're ready, you're going to lift your right heel, so you're on the right toes, and then roll the sole down and lift the left toes. Roll the left foot down and lift the right heel again. And just moving through toe to heel, feeling that stimulation and energy and activity on the soles of your feet as you're waking up your feet. Real somatic awareness of your feet and this sensation of grounding, especially when we're talking about the chakras, because as we move up higher and higher, like to the throat chakra, it becomes even more important to keep grounded so that we're not kind of flying off into some kind of spiritual realm, but we still keep ourselves in the here and now. And then when you've moved evenly on both sides, you're going to bend that left knee and bring that back to the right foot. And again, just standing. And then our final standing posture is going to be a balance. So we're going to do a modified dancer position. So this would actually be the first step if you were going right into a dancer pose. So I'm going to direct you so that you start with your balance. The supporting leg is going to be the right leg. And it can be helpful, I think, with balance if we're all working on the same leg, because if I give an instruction, it gets confusing. So do come to something that will support you on your right side. So I'm going to hold on to the door. And again, come to Samastiti. And then when you are ready, you're going to lift the left foot, still holding on to your support. And if you can, you're going to hold around the ankle and tuck the heel of the left foot into the left buttock. And then you're going to bring your knees together. Find a spot to focus on. And then if you want to go to a balance, you're going to lift the right arm up with the arm close to the ear, focusing on a spot to help you balance. And keep listening to your body. If that's too strong on your thigh, then come out. And then when you're ready, just to counterpose that, so you can lower the arm and then squeeze that left knee in front of you into the belly, keeping as upright as you can, keeping your balance if you can. I couldn't, so I've held my support. And just, you're squeezing just to help the legs to compensate. Navel into spine. And then relax. Shake out the legs. Have a dance, have a movement. And then just observe the left and right sides of the body and how you're feeling. Notice if one side feels different to another. And you might find when we go to the other side, one side might be easier or more flexible than the other, and that's absolutely fine. So again, just stand for a moment or two just to let everything come back and all that information be processed by the body. And then when you're ready, come to the left is going to be your supporting leg this time. So come to something that can support you on the left side. Stand in Samastiti, and then when you're ready, you're going to bend the right knee. You're going to hold around the ankle, bringing the right heel to the right buttock, and the knees are together. And if you like, focusing on your spot, you lift the left arm up. Arm is close to the ear. Tummy in slightly because that helps you to balance, as does the breath, as does the focus. And when you've held about the same length of time as you did on the other side, bend that right knee into the belly, holding below the knee, just to compensate the knee, the stretch in the leg. And then come back to Samastiti. Just want to share a piece of interesting information. On the retreat I was on last week, I learnt that for women, as we lose estrogen, it affects our balance, and it becomes harder and harder to balance the more estrogen we lose. So I thought that was very interesting, because I certainly have found balancing harder since the menopause. So that's the explanation, and that's why we have to still keep our practice. So please now come to the mats and have a rest. We're going to do a bit more movement from kneeling, but for now, come and lie on your backs in any way that is comfortable. And of course, if that's on a sofa or a bed, that's also fine.